We shall now have the national anthem. Thank you everyone for attending and participating via Zoom. This Defeat COVID Ad Hoc Committee this morning. On behalf of our speaker, the chair of the DCC, I would like to greet one and all our fellow House members and to all our resource speakers, a pleasant good morning to all. We are here today for the Mother Committee meeting of the Defeat COVID-19 Ad Hoc Committee to deliberate on the proposed measures and recommendations, which were approved at the subcommittee level by the clusters on economic stimulus, on peace and order, and on banks. At the outset, let me express our collective appreciation to the diligent work extended by the hardworking members of the subcommittee clusters, co-chaired by Representatives Joey Salceda, Sharon Garin, Stella Kimbo, Raul Tupas, Narciso Bong Bravo, Jesus Bong Suntay, and Chairman Juni Kua Jr. We were witness to how these dedicated men and women of the House of Representatives embraced new technology and blazed new trails in the legislative work to ensure the swift action. Even in lockdown, they worked tirelessly in Zoom conferences day after day just to steer the passage of vital measures that need immediate plenary action. For a job well done, I join our colleagues in extending our heartfelt congratulations to all of you. We all adapted fast to the call of the times, knowing fully well that every moment of delay in government response may result to a loss of life or a child going hungry for the night. We acted quickly, aware of the fact that Filipino families continue to suffer to this very day due to the onslaught of this new coronavirus. Marami pa rin nakakasakit at namamatay. Gutom pa rin ang marami nating kababayan at hindi pa natin tiyak kung ano ang bukas. The legislative measures that we will discuss and hopefully approve today are not a panacea to all our problems, but these pieces of legislation may be considered as the next step in our calibrated response to ease the suffering of our people. Last March 23, we acted with dispatch in passing the Bayanihan Act to Heal as One Act, and that law has empowered the national government to feed 18 million of our people for the last 2 months that they were trapped in community quarantine. But we all know that these doleouts are not forever. We have to jumpstart our economic activities while keeping our people healthy the soonest time possible to ensure our survival as a nation. We are fortunate that the best of minds of the 18th Congress have racked their brains for the past weeks for this purpose. And today, we are set to approve an economic stimulus package that will ensure the availability of jobs and continuity of business for millions of Filipinos. A stimulus program that seeks to restore our economic growth, maintain employment levels, and expand the country's productive capacity. We will also discuss the bill that seeks to strengthen the financial sector in the wake of COVID-19 crisis through rehabilitation of distressed businesses and improving liquidity of the financial system. While boosting our country's economic potential, we also seek the approval of the bill that maintains to protect the life and limb of our health workers now in the front line of our war against COVID-19. We are moving to grant them full and inviolable protection against all forms of prejudice and discrimination as they continue to provide medical care, logistical and service support to our people in this age of pandemic. In our deliberation today, let our conscience be our guide. Now is a chance to do something extraordinary, and I pray that we will all rise to the challenge. Thank you, and may God bless us all. We shall now proceed to the report of the subcommittee chairpersons. And I will first call on the chairperson on banks and financial intermediaries, Congressman Juni Kua. Chairman Kua, you have the floor. I understand that there might be some technical difficulties for Chairman Juni Kua's entrance. I think he's at the waiting room still. We asked the committee secretary and staff to allow him in. But for the time being, if the next chairperson is ready, we will call upon Representatives Joey Salceda, Sharon Green, and Stella Kimbo to render the report on the economic stimulus response measure.
Good morning, Chairman.
Thank you, Kong Sharon.
Can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear. Thank you. Thank you, Kong Sharon.
Can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear. Thank you.
by the natural behavior of the people responding to COVID, then people will not travel. People will not go to hotels or tourist spots. So we've identified that there's MSMEs, because we do give preference to the smaller establishments, for them to transition into more automated or more digitalized transactions. And then there's tourism. The impact of this is 5.4 million jobs and 12.7 of our GDP. And then there's the industry and service sectors. This was tackled by Congressman West. Tourism was through Congresswoman Sol, and West discussed with DTI all the industries because of the downturn on the international trade, as well as the repurposing of many businesses here. Then this is a very detailed programming of DTI and DOI in order to save our industries, both in service and in goods. And then there's transportation. Transportation, as everyone knows, tricycles or public utility vehicles can only have 50% capacity. So we have to address that. We have to address the financial needs of the sector, and also the problem with aviation. Aviation is the hardest hit. They're probably 80% 80% down in sales. Maybe sales is only 20% or 10% even, and many in the whole world, all aviation industries are now in dilemma because they're really one of the biggest hit. So but aviation, we need aviation in the Philippines. We're an archipelago, and we need it for trade and tourism. Now we have Agri Fishery. This is a special treatment for food security. Now that we have learned that there are many problems in terms of logistics, supply, and demand of the industry, then we have to address it immediately, because this cannot wait until the 2021 budget. And then there's condonation of loans of the agrarian reform beneficiaries. Since many of these are unpaid, and it's asset that is not utilized, so we might as well condone the loans and then make them useful in the market. So transitional, financial, sectoral. And then there's the structural. The structural reforms are more long-term. National Development Corporation is a company that we have that, for example, intervened when PAL had problems back in about 30 years ago or 20 years ago, and it bought shares of PAL. So in the same manner that we will revive that same company, give them additional capital in order to take care of those companies that are necessary for our economy, but needs a bailout. Then enhanced BBB, that's about 650 billion, which will address targeted projects like broadband, health, schools of the future, many other more. It's a long list that we have done there. And then the monetary policies, its own. I think this is more addressed on the monetary bills that we have as well. So basically, this is the whole proposal: transitional, financial, sectoral, and structure. This economic stimulus is basically an immediate response, our response, in order to jumpstart the companies, jumpstart the economy. But at the end of the day, I think we will need some longer term solutions and policies of each agency. And that's, I think, our work is not done. We still have to continue stimulating the economy, as well as bringing more policies in order for our economy to go as robust as it was before COVID. Now for budget, the total is 568 billion for 2020, and then 80 billion for 2021. Plus, that is when the BBB will start. 1/3 of the BBB in 2021, 22, and 23. The budget is substantial, but this can be rationalized by our economists, in which why we need such a big amount in order for the economy to jumpstart and to recover the probably about 2 trillion losses that we have had because of COVID. Can I turn this off already? I'll send it into the group as well. The budget is off budget for now. It's we cannot take this out from the GAA or any budget that we have now. So the proposal lists down the options, and we're in the government can get bonds or loans or any other options in which for us to be able to fund these proposals. So that's it, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
May I be recognized? I'd like to inquire as to the order of our meeting today. Will we be allowed to ask questions?
Actually, this is Governor Kong Khalid. Yes. We will just first do the committee reports for actual approval. What I would like to encourage everyone is that, for instance, in this PESA measure, we would like to have the committee report approved today by the DCC, so we can actually take this up at the plenary. As soon as that we can do this, we can take it up at the plenary. I understand we have overwhelming support. We have over 260 congressmen as the co-authors. That's great credit to the co-chairs, Joey Salceda, Sharon Garin, who is delivering the report, and Constella Kimbo. And I'd like to invite everyone to conduct the interpellations at the period of sponsorship, which we may have as early as later this afternoon. Just for good measure, since we have two other reports and we are a bit hard-pressed this morning for time. So, Kong Khalid, the order of business is that we will approve first the PESA committee report, followed by the fist of Kong Chair Juni Kua of the Banks and Financial Intermediaries, and the measure of Kong Buboy Tupas and Kong Bong Bravo, chairs of the Peace and Order. So the order of business is the approval of the committee report so that we can already take these matters up at the plenary as soon as later this afternoon, where we will have a wider array and assemblage of congressmen. We are also having the social amelioration cluster meeting as we speak. So we would like to invite everyone to conduct their questions later.
Thank you for the clarification, Majority Leader.
Thank you.
Just if I
All
can
right. With respects to the
Sure.
Yeah. Okay. You'd like to make a manifestation?
Yes.
Please,
just a request that the definition of mass testing be taken up in the plenary. I have no intentions to interpolate, but it could lead to confusion in the public. And in the copy of the PESA bill that I have, there is no clear definition of mass testing. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair.
Chairperson Sharon Garin, I think you can take note of that. So
noted, Mr. Chair. We'll do.
Chair Sharon, do you have anything more to add in your committee report?
No, Mr. Chair.
Again,
Mr. Chairman,
our congratulations on the efforts of the co-chairs of the economic cluster for this very, very popular measure. Since how many are the co-authors that have signed up for this measure? 260.
260, Mr. Chair. That's 85% of the members of Congress.
Okay. At this point, okay, Congressman Rufus, let's keep it short because we have two other measures.
Very short. One sentence question.
Thank you.
Is in the graph, enhanced BBB of 650 billion. And what is reported is this entire package is 568. How can we reconcile that? 568 billion is supposed to be the entire package, and we have enhanced BBB 650 billion. Thank you.
Sir, the 568 is 2020, then 650 plus 80 would be 2021. So basically it's 1.3 trillion.
First year lang.
568. Can you repeat that again, please?
568 on 2020 in the first year. now this year,
Yeah.
and then the BBB will start in 2021 at 650. Then there's a
Thank you.
small. Thank you.
Thank you so
Very
much.
clear, my chair.
I'd like
Very clear. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, I move we approve the committee report on the ESA bill.
I second the
Thank
motion,
you.
Mr.
There's a
Chair.
motion to approve. Okay, there's a resounding second here. So we hear no objections. Congratulations to
Congratulations,
Stella
Sharon.
and Chair
Congratulations,
for a
Joey
wonderful
and
job.
Stella.
The motion is carried and approved. Congratulations to the initiative of the cluster. We will see you at the plenary sessions, Kong Joey, Kong Sharon, and Kong Stella, and everyone is then welcome to make their interpellations or clarifications or questions known, and we shall entertain them then. Thank you so much. We'll now proceed to the next committee report, the subcommittee report of Chairman Kong Jun Kua. I hope you're not in the waiting room any longer and are ready to render your report on the FIST, the Financial Institution Strategic Transfer. Chairman Jun Kua, are you ready?
Yes, I am. Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman, Majority Leader. I would like to apologize for a little technical glitch earlier. I was already logged in at 10 o'clock. Unfortunately, something happened. Anyway, Mr. Chairman, I am privileged and honored to present to this August committee a House Bill number 6622. This is entitled Financial Institutions Strategic Transfer Act. This bill actually is a program. It is a proactive response, I would like to think and say, of Congress to address the plight of the banking industry, an industry so important to our economic recovery in the light of this COVID pandemic. Now, the concern of the banking industry is the inevitable increase in their non-performing loans or non-performing assets. And this is inevitable because, as everybody would expect, because of the closure of businesses, as a result of the ECQ, there is an expected huge failure of these businesses to meet maturing obligation. And it is not hard to imagine that the increase in the NPLs or the NPAs, non-performing assets, would affect, number one, the liquidity of the banking industry. It will affect its resiliency or profitability, and in effect, affect its very viability. The banking sector must continue to provide credit. It has to be liquid all the time to be able to meet the continuous flow of credit to the economy, the very lifeblood of economic activity. So this bill, therefore, intends to set up the mechanism and the legal framework to address these concerns. This would enable the banks to dispose of their non-performing loans and assets, become more liquid through this law. This law will allow them to transfer strategically to what is internationally known as special purpose entity or special purpose vehicle, done by many other nations and economies addressing financial crisis. So this is the concept that is intended to be achieved by this law, and And the law that we hope to legislate will be an improvement of the old law. We have introduced in this new law certain features that would correct some of the implementing obstacles that were experienced by the implementing agency, specifically the Securities Exchange Commission, with regards to its effective execution of this program. So one of which is the rampant issuances of restraining orders, or TRO, by the regional trial courts. It is expected that as assets are sold to special purpose vehicles, the owners of the properties whose properties are being transferred would sue. And in the experiences of the past, this has hindered and became an obstacle to the effective and efficient execution of the program. And this will be corrected in this law by providing that only Court of Appeals or Supreme Court can issue TRO. So also in the old law, there was a problem in encouraging and motivating foreign investors to come in and invest in the special purpose vehicle, which we now call FIST or FIST, simply because of the constitutional prohibition for owning of land. So this particular constraint will be addressed in this law by providing the mechanism that had been used in our foreign in our existing banking law that encourages foreign investment into our banks. So these are a few of the innovations that are intended to be achieved by this law, and we are also introducing a measure, or we are introducing measures that will protect consumers. And we are in fact introducing here a new concept called qualified buyer concept, so that consumers will be protected. So to be able to encourage the financial institutions who are saddled with non-performing loans, and to encourage as well the setting up of FIST companies, and also to encourage investors in the instruments that will be eventually put out by the FIST companies. Fiscal incentives are put in place. Fee privileges are also put in place. The same incentives that were provided in the old law. We have not added any other fiscal incentives, as we are sensitive about revenue losses. So, Mr. Chairman, these are just some of the salient features of this law that we hope would merit the approval and consideration of this August committee. The early approval of this bill into law will be a strong signal to the banking industry that the government, and Congress in particular, is responsive to the plight of the industry. And this will strengthen depositors' confidence, and will also strengthen investors' confidence, and hopefully prevent the ill effects of mounting non-performing loans. So this bill when legislated into law, will strongly complement our economic stimulus program. So on that note, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to thank the members of the committee and our colleagues for this great opportunity for this humble representation to present its case. Maraming salamat po at magandang umaga.
Thank you so much, Chairman Juni Kua, for your exhaustive report on the fish measure or House Bill 6622. At this point, I'd like to recognize Kong Rufus Rodriguez for his brief question.
Very brief, Mr. Chairman, 2 sentences only.
Thank you, sir.
So first of all, congratulations to my good friend Chairman Kua.
Thank you.
So this is really some sort of a reapplication of Republic Act 9182, which is the Special Purpose Vehicle Law of 2002. I can remember 2002, and we call the corporations then as a Special Purpose Corporations, Vehicle Corporations, SPAV corporations. Okay, now we're calling it Financial Institution Strategic Transfer Corporations.
That's right.
Corporation, yes. So in this particular case, therefore, it's the same thing. Non-performance loans will be now assets will now be sold to these corporations. And are you still going to have there will be income tax to this stock corporation? Will it also be free from documentary stamp tax, those who are coming in to invest? Is that also in this particular law, Chairman? This already given by the SPAV law of 2002?
Yes, Your Honor. The same incentives will be enjoyed by the players in this program. There are incentives given to the financial institutions or the creditors, or meaning the lenders, the financial sector. There will be also the same incentive enjoyed before accruing to the FIST, which is the SPB before. And also there would also be incentive to encourage lending to borrowers with whose credit is impaired. The same incentives, Your Honor, would accrue to all the players. We did not increase it anymore because we are sensitive to it. We did not decrease it because we found it effective before.
Thank you. So although there are no additional fiscal incentives, but one thing good is that we are sure that there will be no RTCs that will issue TROs and only the Court of Appeals. Is that correct, Mr. Chairman?
That's correct, Your Honor. That is one of the obstacles for this speedy and smooth implementation of the law before, and this is the problem that was experienced in the old law. And you're right, Your Honor.
Thank you, Chairman, and thank you, Majority Leader. The answers were very, very clear. Crystal clear. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kong Rufus, for your brief questioning to our chair. And at this point, I will entertain a motion to approve the report. Yes, Kong Deputy Majority Floor Leader, Rimpi Bondo.
Mr. Chairman, very well explained by our chairman, the Honorable Kua. I move for the approval of the committee report on the substitute bill to House Bill 6622.
Second.
Thank you. There's a motion duly seconded. We hear no objections. Said motion is carried. Congratulations, Congressman, Chairperson Juni Kua, for that successful passage and approval of your subcommittee report. We'll see you at the plenary sessions, Congressman Juni Kua, for your sponsorship. Thank you so much. We'll go now to the next committee report, and we shall have our chairs, Buboy Tupas and co-chair Bong
Rufus.
Bravo, if they are ready to render their report on the piece for the
Lindsay
cluster.
Bondok.
We are ready, Mr. Chairman, Honorable Majority Leader.
Kailangan pumunta doon?
Thank you. Go ahead.
Our Majority Leader and Co-Chairperson of the DCC, esteemed colleagues, a pleasant morning to all of you. It is my honor and privilege to sponsor the substitute bill to House Bill number 6676, entitled An Act Prohibiting the Discrimination Against Persons who are declared confirmed, suspect, probable, and recovered cases of COVID-19, repatriated Filipinos, healthcare workers, responders, and service workers, and providing penalties for violation thereof. This is principally authored by Deputy Minority Leader Jose Christopher Y. Belmonte. Basically, Mr. Chair, honorable colleagues, this bill seeks to grant full and inviolable protection against prejudice and discrimination to those who have already suffered and recovered from COVID-19, as well as those who bear the brunt of providing medical care, logistical, and service support. Under this bill, anyone found guilty of committing discriminatory practices such as failure to give assistance, harassment or assault, stigmatization, or unlawful refusal to honor valid and existing contracts shall suffer the penalty of imprisonment of not less than 6 months but not more than 5 years, or a fine of not less than 50,000 pesos but not more than 500,000 pesos, or both, at the discretion of the court. The proposed law mandates that authorities shall perform their functions under existing laws and ordinances for the containment of COVID-19 disease. Ergo, personnel are protected from false charges of harassment while carrying out their disease surveillance and response functions under Republic Act 11332, otherwise known as the Mandatory Reporting of Notifiable Diseases and Health Events of Public Health Concerns Act. Likewise, Mr. Chair, the implementation of the government's containment, quarantine, and isolation protocols will be unhampered. Mr. Chair and esteemed colleagues, the PNP has already registered more than 100 attacks and acts of discrimination against health workers since the start of the ECQ. I therefore earnestly seek the approval of this bill to afford protection not just to all victims of COVID-19 and their families, but also to our health personnel, responders, service workers who tirelessly carry out our fight against the pandemic. That's all, Mr. Chairman. Thank you. And thank you, my dear esteemed colleagues.
Thank you so
Majority
much.
Leader, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you so much for your report, Chair Bong Bravo.
Mr. Chairman.
And I'd like to thank and congratulate you for your efforts.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
before we go for the approval, I'd like to again recognize, but before I recognize Kong Rufus Rodriguez, I'd like to acknowledge the presence of our other esteemed colleague, Congressman Lord Velasco of the Energy Committee, the chair. Welcome to our DCC. We will now ask Congressman Rufus to propound his brief questions to our chair. Thank you.
Brief, thank you again. Very brief, and it's an amendment, proposed amendment, Mr. Chairman. And good morning, of course, to Chairman Lord Alan Velasco. We have here stated that the penalty of imprisonment, so forth and so on, to four categories of actions. I would propose that as far as harassment or assault, this should have a higher, more severe penalty than failure to give assistance, stigmatization, and unlawful refusal to honor valid existing contract. Would our distinguished chairman, Bong Bravo, agree that a category of a higher penalty should be imposed on harassment or assault, because these are direct actions which are contemptuous, which are against our heroes, and therefore we are going to have this. Will he agree that the penalty should be, instead of 6 months to not more than 5 years, it should be 1 year to 10 years, or a fine of not less than 200,000 to 1 million? Will that be agreeable for the category of actual harassment, actual assault? Mr. Majority Leader, Mr. Chairman.
Kong Rufus, thank you for your brief question. Chair Bong Bravo, would you like to address that question?
We have no problem with that, Mr. Chair. We agree to the proposal of the Honorable Rufus Rodriguez.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Chairman. Thank you, Kong Rufus. I'd like to recognize the gentleman from Pampanga, my esteemed colleague and the Deputy Majority Floor Leader, Mikey Arroyo, the Vice Chair of the Energy Committee.
Mr. Chairman, first of all, I'd like to congratulate my good friend, Congressman Bravo.
Thank you, boss.
In doing so, I'd like to move for the approval of the draft substitute bill to House Bill 6676.
Second.
Mr. Chairman.
There's a motion.
As amended, Mr. Chairman.
As amended.
As amended.
Amended as concurred by the chairperson. There's a motion. Duly seconded, included. With that is the second. Thank you, Ma'am Precious, for your second. And said motion is approved, carried. Again, we shall see you for the plenary sponsorship for the said bill. Thank you for the approval of the said bill and committee report. Thank you so much. At this point, we would now open up the floor to any other matters that the DCC would like to take up. And if there is nothing very important, we will also entertain a motion to adjourn.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, Kong Rufus.
How about the cures bill of your sponsored
so much.
by our deputy speaker, Elre Villafuerte, cures bill?
Yes, thank you so much for bringing that up. As we speak, the cures bill, in fact, right before this meeting, we already had convened the special cluster on the social amelioration cluster, and they are now deliberating, if not almost concluded, that said measure. So simultaneous to this, since that matter was taken up much later than this just approved measures, we hope to have the cures initiative approved, their committee report, by the latter part of this week, so that we can take it up in conjunction with your initiative. So that's why you can see DS Elre and his co-chair, Kong Lucy, are not with us because they are busy working very hard with their members at the social amelioration cluster. Thank you so much for your
Thank you. How about, again, one more thing. How about the new normal bill?
As we speak as well, our Deputy Speaker, Lauren Legarda, is tackling that initiative at 1 p.m. exactly, or but that will be at the same time we will be tackling the legislative and good government committees, which I think your measure is at center stage. Congratulations, Kong Rufus.
Thank you, Majority Leader. Thank you very much.
Mr. Chairman,
sir.
Majority Leader, sir. Before we entertain the adjournment, Mr. Chair, may I make a little manifestation?
Yes, I'm our Deputy Majority Floor Leader, Kong Sharky Palma.
Thank you, Majority Leader, sir. I would like to make a manifestation, Majority Leader, sir, Chairman, that we have over 100 participants right now in our DCC committee meeting, and I would like to make that on record that we have over 100 participants, members of the House, who are participating in this committee meeting.
Again, thank you, Kong Sharky. for that manifestation and acknowledging and making known, because again, I cannot but thank and express my heartfelt appreciation and gratitude to each and every one of you who have taken time out this morning to approve these measures, these subcommittee reports and this bill, so that at the very least, we can proceed, because the COVID measures are very, very necessary to meet this pandemic. So maraming salamat, Kong Sharky, for that,
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
that note. Okay. If there are no other matters, we'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn. Adjourn later.
Second.
Maraming salamat, Kong Roel. Maraming salamat.
Unanimous
Thank you,
second.
Mr. Chair. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. I'd like to ask now the members of the Rules Committee to switch over to our Rules Committee conference starting now. So,
We'll do
to
majority.
everyone, maraming salamat.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Madjo.
Thank you all.
Thank you, everybody. Our chairman. Thank you po.
A little bit small.